Welcome to Daily Overdose.
You have to be fearless. You have to be completely fearless and have utmost belief in whatever that feeling is inside you. Earn your keep, earn the day. But when you're stepping into territory that's unknown, and we grow up in a society where people just think that you click on things and you get it. We're programmed, everything is so instant. You take a pill, you get skinny. You get this app, it sorts everything out for you. To get anything, there's no secret to it. It's just hard work. You gotta put in the work, you gotta put in the hours. Whether it's repetitions or whatever it is, you gotta get up and get after it as hard as you can. Because there's somebody else that's out there that's doing it. You want to be the hardest working person in the world. If what they're going after truly makes them happy, if it's driven by happiness, they will have nothing but success. Because you will enjoy getting up early in the morning. You will enjoy outworking everybody. People that are miserable, I never understand why they're doing what they're doing. You have one life. We got one shot at this. There's no dress rehearsals at all. To be miserable going to job after job or just doing the same thing over and over again, have no inspiration. You're just a cog in the wheel. I'd rather be the engine. I'd rather be the one that drives and moves the car, than just be the wheel. It's all a mindset. It's how bad you want something. And nothing tastes better than when you've earned it. There's no better feeling than when you've earned it. And nothing's been handed to me. Nothing, has come. Nothing by any chance has come easy to me. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't think I'd have the career that I have if I didn't go through what I did early, and sort of lose what little fortune that I had at the time and get lost. And then have to come back and sort of recalibrate. Rip that safety blanket out. Don't have a backup plan. If you have a backup plan, you'll always go to that backup plan. You're like, I could always go back to this. Well, that means if it gets too tough? That's like saying, if I get married, I can always get a divorce if it gets tough. That's why so many people are divorced these days, because they don't want to put the work in. When it gets tough, you got to be able to bite down on your mouth guard and step forward and keep swinging. If there is a sliver of a chance, that means you got a chance. And don't give up. You just can't. And by doing that, you have to just be fearless. You 100% have to be fearless. If you decide in that moment that you want to ring that bell and give up, then go to your backup plan and be miserable. Happiness is worth more than any dollar amount you'll ever have. Through your happiness, you'll have your wealth that will come. I'm a firm believer of that. Be very appreciative of how lucky you are to see the sunrise. Each day that comes, recognize that you have that day ahead of you to go kick ass. And that's all you should focus on, is that day, and that day only. And then there was training with our SEAL guys, which is completely different mentality. They always say embrace the suck, and there's a lot of sucking. Everything about it sucks. Usually I'll train before we go into work. Usually our work day starts around 6 or 7 in the morning. So I'll usually hit the gym at like 3:34, and then I'll train for a good hour and a half, and then go to work. And then we'll be on set for 10, 12 hours up in the mountains, run up and down hills with about 100 pounds of gear on us all day. But in order to be able to run up and down these hills with this gear on, you have to be able to train this. You can't fake this. There's something about it when you're training that hard and that focused. I really feel like, the earth you're seeing things a little clearer, like the colors on the tree and in the ocean are just a little bit brighter. Like you've got a clear head. Like you're aware of a lot more things when you're putting that much focus in on training and health and fitness, and I think those things really go hand in hand. Success, the greatest wealth in life is health, right? So if you take that and use your health, get as healthy as possible, and focus that on success, I think is a good combination. And then you're through that success comes wealth. It's just this great circle. But taking care of yourself first is 100% needed in any successful thing in life, whether it's a relationship or whether it's business. Just learn one more thing that you didn't know yesterday. That's all I ask, is one more thing. Just get slightly better each day. Whatever it is. If you did 4 push-ups yesterday, do 5 push-ups today. Just do one thing better than you did yesterday, so then you feel like there's growth every day. And it doesn't have to be big. If you did 6 steps, do 6.5 the next day. So every day there's a little goal within yourself, whatever that it is you did one more thing than you did. So you're constantly growing and improving. I remember I had a conversation with myself in my rear view mirror, and I was like, do I go back to Canada? And because I was 26 at the time, and I'm living in my car. It's just, there's not, I'm supposed to be living the dream. I left Vancouver and I made it. Like people think that I made it, and I hadn't. But then I really kind of, started thinking. I was like, look, I've got everything right now. I've got my health. I'm chasing my dream. I got people that believe in me. I have a legitimate agent. So maybe I do have everything. Material-wise, I'm struggling a little bit, but I have everything that I need right now at this moment that I need to get a job. And it's just I needed to focus in on that. I needed to stop worrying about, the next 3 or 4 years and just focus what I could control. And that was being completely focused and present on the work and tasks that I had at hand to get me out of the situation that I was in. And being okay with telling people that I had no money. And I think that I was broke and that I was struggling, and lose my ego over that, because I wasn't raised that way. My father never raised me that way. We didn't grow up with money. It never defined us. So I kind of got lost in this sort of flashy town of like, yeah, you're doing great. Everybody asks how you're doing down here, and people tell you what jobs they've just worked on, as opposed to telling you how you're actually doing. Your work defines you as opposed to your character. I had done a couple episodes, and I was in the parking lot, and I had like $32.95. I was in a 7-Eleven parking lot, and that's all I had in my bank account. And I actually have that framed in my office. And my phone rang, and it was my manager saying that they wanted to do a 7-year deal with me at CVS, and it completely changed my life, going 0 to 60 in a Tesla, and it just everything changed for the better. I went out and got an apartment that day. I didn't just get an apartment; I got a great one. I got an apartment and bought a pool table, and my parents had come down to celebrate. And they came in. I didn't even have a bed or anything. There was a pool. These guys were putting up a pool table. Mom's like, "Where's your bed or your plates?" I'm like, "I haven't bought that yet." And she's like, "You bought a pool table?" I'm like, "I've always wanted to buy a pool table." She's like, "Jesus Christ, AJ." it's like it's great though. We can play pool. She's like, "But where are you going to sleep?" And I'm like, "I got my car outside." It's like reading a chapter, and until you understand what happened in that chapter, you can never go to the next chapter. So you have to go back and read it again. And I feel like that was happening in my life. I had to, until I understood where I was, the next part wasn't going to happen. I was a dog chasing its tail. So I had to be okay with myself and where I was, and kind of zero in on what my goal was. And instead of, taking the foot off the gas and going out and hanging out with people that really didn't give a shit about anything. You know, I needed to sort of bring the circle small and put the focus back on myself, and have that hunger again to get up and get after it. Today, you know, it's stronger than ever, even with the success that I have now. The more that you are dialed in, the more that the needle moves.
I don't care who you are, life is going to knock you down. Listen to me, many of you right now, life's got you up against the rope, and you got to do me a favor. Like, you can't give up, you can't give in. Pain is temporary. Pain is your friend. Pain is going to take you to the next level. When you going through pain, I know what you feeling. I know exactly, because I've been there, I've done that, but you got to work through it. And the reason why most of you are not successful is because every single time stuff not going your way, you give up, you quit, you let go, and people feel weakness. They feel it. You can feel when somebody's not committed, when they're not all in, when they're not dedicated. And there's another level you get to when you go all in. Winners win and losers lose.
There are going to be times that you're going to be wondering, why should I keep showing up and working my business? Why should I keep at it? Why should I keep showing up to the conventions? Why should I keep picking up the phones and making the phone calls? Why should I keep fighting for my goals and fighting for my dreams? And what I want to remind you is that you got to show up for your life regardless of the circumstances. You got to show up in spite of the naysayers. You got to show up in spite of the conversation going on in your mind. You got to show up for your life, because if you don't, nobody else will.
If you want unreasonable results in your life, you've got to be willing to be unreasonable. Part of being unreasonable, you don't judge according to appearances. Part of being unreasonable, you can see it because you believe it. You must have the faith to call forth those things that be not as though they were. You've got to decide, I deserve this, and I'm going to have it. You've got to say yes to your life. You've got to say yes. Yes to my dreams. Yes to me. Yes, I can make it. Yes, I can. Doesn't matter how many failures I've made. Doesn't matter how many mistakes I've endured. Doesn't matter about my defeats. Doesn't matter about what I've done. Yes, yes. I don't care about the fact I'm in a hole now. Doesn't matter about where I am. The last chapter to my life has not been written yet. If you judge me now, you'll judge me prematurely. I'm still in the process of transforming my life. I'm still in the process of becoming. Yes.
The brilliance of Thomas Edison was not in his mind. It was something much more ordinary and often much less respected. I've got no imagination, he once said. I never dream. I've created nothing. If you're someone who doesn't like Edison, you might think that this is Edison admitting to stealing his inventions from other, more brilliant inventors, like Nikola Tesla. Not quite, but he did readily concede that most of the credit belonged to something other than his brain. The genius hangs around his laboratory day and night, Edison said. If anything happens, he's there to catch it. If he wasn't, it might happen just the same. Only it would never be his. What he's talking about is showing up. The incredible, underrated power of clocking in every day, putting your ass in the seat, and the luck this seems to inevitably produce. Edison lived in his laboratory and never missed a day. Like Gehrig, even when he was sick, when he was tired, or when visited by tragedy or disaster. The modern conveniences we can trace to his lab then owe far more to his body than his brain, to the compounding power of consistency rather than sheer brilliance. It wasn't about inspiration. It was about getting to work, show up and try. Get on the treadmill, pick up the violin, script out some scenes, reach out to some clients, read some reports, lift a couple weights, jog 1 mile, cross one thing off the to-do list, chase down a lead. It doesn't matter what it is. All aspects of our life benefit from this circumscribed kind of wisdom. Just as long as you do something every day, that is the important thing. Show up. When you're tired, when you don't have to, Even if you have an excuse, even if you're busy, even if you won't get recognized for it, even if it's been kicking your ass lately, once something is done, you can build on it. Once you get started, momentum can grow. When you show up, you can get lucky. Is this still hard? Yes. But the good news is that because it's hard, most people don't do it. They don't show up. They can't even do one tiny thing a day. So yes, you're alone out there on the track in the rain. You're the only one responding on Christmas. But having the lead is, by definition, a little lonely. This is also why it's quiet in the morning. You have the opportunities all to yourself. Don't worry about setting any records. Just report for duty. No excuses. And here's the irony. This is also a way to break records. Consistency is a superpower. Day to day, willpower is incredibly rare. Lowell Gettrig was a solid position player and a good hitter. But his success really was rooted in the fact that he didn't miss many days of work. It's quite likely that had he continued at his normal pace and not been stricken with R's, that he would have put up career numbers that surpassed Babe Ruth. Gettrig wasn't just able to show up despite injuries and fatigue. He also had to push through ennui, doubt, and just plain not feeling it. He had slumps like we all do, but he also understood what they meant. As a minor leaguer, he had struggled at the plate and thought about quitting. The Yankees' owner sent down a scout to walk Gehrig through the very basic math of a batting average. A good hitter hits 300, and hitting 350 is terrific. Hitting 400 is almost unheard of. What does that translate to? Missing on 6 tries out of 10. A hitter can also go days, weeks without touching the ball. That's what the scout told him. The most important thing a young ball player can learn is that he can't be good every day. You don't have to always be amazing. You do always have to show up. What matters is sticking around for the next at-bat. The ability to do that, coupled with the ability to endure what John Steinbeck called dawdly days while writing East of Eden. Those days when everything seems out of whack, when you're just not feeling it, when the distractions won't stop, is the first step to greatness. Literally. You cannot be great without the self-discipline to do that. One thing a day adds up. Each day adds up. But the numbers are only interesting if they accumulate in large quantities.
You guys that are just getting started, you're not going to start right here. You're going to start down there, probably in another city, another town. I grew up in Lake Charles, Louisiana, no money, raised by a single mother. I was in debt at 25 years old. First thing that I had to do in my life was not learn a new skill. First thing I had to do to get my life moving in the right direction was self-development. It is vital. It was vital for me that I improved myself and I could start depending upon me. I had to show up every day with some rituals, some disciplines, and start getting myself to trust me, not trust others, but trust myself to do the right thing every day. One of the things that I started doing was beating the sun up every morning. I'm going to beat that sun up every morning so that I have the discipline and the control over my life. So I knew, hey, before that thing pops, I'm going to pop. I'm going to get out of bed, depend on myself, get up at the same time every day. And for me, that time, regardless of where I was beat that sun up. No matter where I am, I'm going to beat that thing up. So it gives me a sense of control over my own life. Second thing, I had to start cleaning up my life and my friends and my environment. When I was younger, between 15 and 25, I was doing crazy stuff in my life. Wasting my weekends. I have the saying, weekends are for the weak. I was drinking, fooling around with a bunch of bad things, bad people. At 25 years old, I cleaned it all up. Quit going to those places. Quit hanging out with people that did not have ethics and discipline in their life. I wanted to build something in my life. I wanted to become someone. And to do that, to become someone in the eyes of the world, just beating that sun up every morning gives me the sense of accomplishment. That I did what I said I was going to do. That I woke up when I said I would wake up. And I start building respect for myself, start believing in myself so that I can go out into the world. And maybe today when I go into this meeting that I'm dressed for, they'll believe in me as much as I believe in me. And that'll show up in a contract, a deal, maybe even some money.